So you clicked on this video because you're a people pleaser. You're sick of people pleasing. You're sick of being drained. You're sick of not having your voice. You're sick of feeling like people are taking more than they can. What's that quote? You give a person a foot and they take a mile, right? You're sick of it. So in this video, there's three main topics. We're going to talk about the root of people pleasing. We're going to talk about the cost. And then we're going to talk about how to say no without the guilt that comes up, because that's the issue that a lot of people are dealing with, is the emotional perception of this situation. So first, let's just get right in. So over here on my right, I have this article up. I'll link it below. It's from Psychology Today, and it talks about the traits of a people pleaser. People pleaser often has low self-worth, accommodates everyone else's needs, undermines his or her own needs, goes with the flow that is dictated by others, is too agreeable in general, does not assert themselves, rarely says no, feels valuable when complying with others, values praise from others, says sorry when no apology is required, takes the blame when not at fault, makes excuses for the faults of others, and has little self-awareness. So if you feel like I just described you, just comment below, let me know. I think some of these are interesting. And the reason why I think that they're interesting is because there's a duality where some of these can carry over into different facets of life. And they can be deemed as good or valuable or even necessary. So for example, one of the first one that popped out to me is, it says, takes the blame when not at fault. So if you've ever done any type of leadership training, or you've been in a position of leadership, you know that one of the qualities of leadership is that you're accountable for the whole team. You're accountable for your subordinates, for the people who report to you. You're accountable for your kids or your spouse or whoever the person may be. And so that one if you're taking a leadership training, you're going to hear, hey, take accountability no matter what. If the team loses, take accountability no matter what. So some of these have that duality. So I hope that whoever's viewing this understands that. Don't see this list and interpret everything on this list as bad and it needs to stop. That's not what we're trying to do. What we're trying to do is just bring more balance to the way that we're engaging and approaching things. Okay, so let's move to the root cause, right? So the root cause of this is often coming from childhood or early experiences, whether it be like in your religious settings or your family system, or whether it's in like an early dating situation, or even if it's in an early friend group situation. But for the most part, it's going to come from your childhood, where you're experiencing and learning life. Now, the type of family situations, the type of family systems that will produce a people pleaser is often someone who had to experience love and validation, but it was conditional, right? It wasn't conditional love. It wasn't validation just because you were a human being. You often had to do something to get validated, right? You had to get that A+ on the test. You had to score a touchdown during the sporting event. You had to do maybe even potentially some type of chores or some things around the house just to get love and validation. And if you had to meet these conditions to get love and validation, then you often grow up into an adult who does have a lack of boundaries, who can't speak up, who struggles with people pleasing. Another way that you learn people pleasing is you learn to say yes for safety. So if you were in an environment where, it just wasn't safe for you, and you either had to say yes or you had to lie. See, that's the one that people don't talk about. If you don't have boundaries, or if you're a people pleaser, sometimes in your early childhood, you had to lie for safety, or you had to lie for survival. See, people don't talk about that because it's only so many people that have experienced, like that's more of a rare thing. Sometimes you have to lie to be safe, and the consequence of you lying keeps you safe when you grew up in that environment. Another thing is, if you had a negative past experience, a strong negative past experience that impacted the way that you think, impacted the way that you operate, that might have been the root for you that created your people pleasing, or your lack of boundaries, or your lack of speaking up for yourself, or your lack of finding your voice. Okay, so now let's transition and let's talk about the hidden cost. These are the hidden costs. The hidden costs. So just this past week, I met with my community mastery circle. We meet every 2 Saturdays. And I asked everyone, I said, hey, before I go over these, what is your guys' opinion? What's your opinion of the cost of being a people pleaser? And one of the community members, her name is Alicia, she said it costs you your life before anybody else went. And it was like, ooh, like I love that she said that, because it's true. It costs you your life. Like it doesn't, yeah, it costs you time. Yeah, it costs you energy. Yeah, it might cost you money. Yeah, it might cost you a little bit of emotions, but most importantly, it costs you your life. And I want you to feel it that way. And I want you to hear it that way, because it's that serious. It costs you your life. The first thing it's going to cost you outside of your life is your energy. You're going to become exhausted. Giving all the time is exhausting. It's exhausting to give. I don't care who you are, how much you think you have to give. It's exhausting to be in situations where you have to consistently give. The second thing it can do for you is it can trigger a great deal of resentment. That's another cost that it can do for you. It can trigger a great deal of resentment because you're secretly resenting people in your life. People that you're supposed to be in great relationships with. You know, your friends, your family, your partner, your kids, people, maybe even your neighbors. These are people you're supposed to have great relationships with, right? Or at least that we all hope to have great relationships with. But the consequence of being this people pleaser is that sometimes you can have resentment for people. And then the last thing I wrote down here in my notes is that it costs you your voice, right? If you talk to anybody who talks about chakras, the different energy systems of the body, they're going to tell you that the throat chakra is the chakra that is the most blocked chakra. The throat chakra, your ability to speak, your ability to communicate your wants, your needs, your desires, even just your ability to communicate your story, what you're seeing, what you're observing, what you're feeling, what you're going through, even just telling the story of your life sometimes can be blocked. That's your throat chakra, right? And so one of the hidden costs of not having boundaries, not having discipline, not having the autonomy to just speak up when it's a no for you or when it's a yes for you, and to be authentic with that. One of the consequences is that you lose your voice. Like, yeah, of course you can still speak, but you don't have your voice. And if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. You can speak and not have your voice, right? We get that? Okay, so let's transition to, on my notes here, I put how to practice saying no. Now, before we get there, though, there's a key term that I want you to leave here with. So make sure you put this in your notes. The key term is rescue. Rescue. And I'm going to give you a quick example. So I can swim okay. All right. I can swim okay. Like in the pool, I'm good. In the ocean, not so much. I'm not the most experienced person swimming in the ocean. I like going to the beach. I like going to the ocean. But as far as like getting out there deep and swimming, I'm not there yet. And that's just me being self-aware, just me being honest. You get me in the pool, I'm good. I'm good in the pool. I can go to the deep end. I'm good there. But you get me in the ocean, you're going to have that helicopter come out, right? That helicopter's going to have to come out from the LA Fire Department. And you're going to have to put that little raft in the water, and you're going to have to lift me out. That's just the reality. That's just the reality of it. Now, I painted that picture for you because a lot of the times when you're choosing to be a people pleaser, that's what you're doing for people. You're rescuing people from their own problems that they're creating on their own. I'm self-aware enough to know that in a pool, I'm good. If I go out to the ocean, there might be issues. So why would I put myself in that situation? Right? And now here you come as the people pleaser, and now here you come in that helicopter, and now here you come airlifting me out of the ocean and taking me back to the shore. But the problem is, it's not that happens once in our lifetimes. The problem is that as a rescuer, you're rescuing every single day, or if not every day, pretty often, 2-3 times a week, or maybe even multiple times a day. You're rescuing someone. You're saving someone from the consequences of their own actions. Now, I get that I basically painted like a life or death thing. I did that intentionally because the people who truly struggle as quote unquote people pleasers, they see it as a life or death thing. If I don't help this person, they're going to die. If I don't have their back, they're going to die. Now, that's often not true. Here's the other issue with rescuing. There's this beautiful word that I love, and it's called resiliency, being resilient. And how do you get there? Well, you get there through practice. If you experience darkness in life and you don't learn how to integrate the darkness, you don't learn how to work with it. You don't learn how to work with the stress that comes up or the pain that comes up or the confusion or the curiosity that comes up. How will you ever develop the skill of managing it? You'll just like be in the darkness, and then you'll be looking for a savior. You'll literally be looking for someone to rescue you every time. And every adult knows that no one's going to save you. You're lucky if one time in life somebody saves you. You're lucky if 2 times in life somebody saves you. But for the most part, nobody is going to save you. That's not a realistic perception that we should have, that, oh, I just don't need to take care of my stuff because someone has saved me. Let me say this again. If someone saves you from your own problems that you've created, you're lucky if they save you once. There probably won't be a second time, right? And that pain and that darkness and that drama, that feeling of being left out, that feeling of not getting what you need, that feeling of being broke and figuring out how the hell am I going to pay my bills? That feeling develops your personality. It develops your will. But if every single time somebody in your life, things just hit the fan for them and you jump in and save them, how are they going to develop what it takes? How are they going to develop the fortitude? How are they going to develop the energy and the dedication it takes to make sure that they don't get in that situation again? And that's why being a rescuer is just no good. It's just not a good thing. Perhaps we do need to do it here and there. Perhaps we and here's the other thing. Sometimes we're blessed. Sometimes we're blessed with the extra room. Sometimes we're blessed with the extra $1,000. Sometimes you're blessed with the extra 4 hours that you can make that drive. Sometimes you're blessed with the extra hour where you can sit on the phone with that person. Sometimes we're blessed where we can just say, man, come on over, man. Let's just have some tea and figure this thing out. Sometimes you're blessed with it. And when you have blessings, yeah, you do have a certain responsibility to support and help others. But at the same time, how many times, and I know you've experienced this, how many times have you worked so hard for your blessings just for someone to come along and then basically to try to take advantage of what you've earned or what you have? Is that fair to you? No, it's not. And so the key word that I mentioned at the top here was balance. This isn't about being, completely no or completely yes. It's about having balance. And that key term was rescue. So I'm going to end this video right here. There's going to be a part 2. The next video, I'm going to talk about how to say no. I'm going to talk about how to say no, how to develop those boundaries as a people pleaser. So wherever you're seeing this at, drop a like, drop a comment. Let me know what you thought of today's video. If you want to work with me one-on-one, SylvesterMcNutt.net/coaching. You can come work with me one-on-one. Also, if you want to just buy me a coffee, or you're like, hey, this video was dope, my guy, I want to get you a coffee. I love coffee. You can subscribe to my Substack, which is SylvesterMcNutt.substack.com. All right, I had to get that out there. All right, so like I say, I'm gonna get working on the second video, which is talking about how to practice. Thank you for watching today's video. I'll see you in the next one.